Alright, guys, welcome back to Adidev's Guru Gyan. Uh, big news happening with Kylian Mbappe aaj. And also, I'm currently watching the Barca Femeni game as well against Lyon Women's Champions League final. काफी मतलब क्या बोलूं काफी weird game रहा है for Barca Femeni fans. But yeah, I'll hold on to that for some time and let other people join in. ठीक है. तो जो भी ज्वाइन कर रहा है आप कमेंट्स पे हाई कर दो और अगर आवाज़ भी सुनाई दे रही है तो वो भी बोल दो तो उसके हिसाब से देख भी लेंगे ठीक है। प्रथमेश कुलकर्णी बोल रहे हैं रेफ पिन डॉजी तो हाँ रेफ थोड़े डॉजी रहे हैं रेफ थोड़े से डॉजी रहे हैं। ब्लॉगराना हट बोल रहे हेलो गुरुजी हाय 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 गुरुजी ब्रिंग ओशवाला यार। हाँ ओशवाला आई थिंक सेकंड हाफ में मोस्टली आएंगे। हाँ मोस्टली सेकंड हाफ में आएंगे। रेफ और कौन ज्वाइन किया है हाय कुले फ्रॉम सीसीयू कैसे हो गुरुजी नमस्ते लव फ्रॉम कोलकाता नमस्ते हाय सर लव फ्रॉम नेपाल श्याम कृष्णा यस हाय हाय श्याम अभिषेक रावत ये रियल वालों की हाय कितनी जल्दी लगती है 1 से 13 1 से 3 सॉरी 1 से 3 ओ भाई ओके दैट वो उस पर बाद में आएंगे सादिक भाई विल आल्सो बी जॉइनिंग अस ठीक है उसके बाद हम डेफिनेटली उस पर बात करेंगे अबाउट दैट ह्यूज ट्रांसफर बट यार फर्स्ट थॉट्स बोलने जाए तो मुझे ऑफ सर्टेन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और मुझे एक बड़ा पे मिलता मैं डेफिनेटली उधर जाता बट दीज आर प्रोफेशनल फुटबॉल प्लेयर्स ठीक है एंड रुक जाओ सादिक भाई भी आ गए हैं उनको ऐड करते हैं सादिक भाई व्हाट्सअप सब मैं अभी बिग न्यूज पे बात कर रहा था बट बिफोर दैट आप गेम देख रहे हो
क्या चल रहा है भाई 3-1 डाउन
सही में भाई मैं देख रहा था अभी गेम देख रहा था फर्स्ट हाफ लियोन हैज एब्सोल्युटली डोमिनेटेड भाई एब्सोल्युटली डोमिनेटेड मतलब क्रेजी है ये
I was a bit scared because Lyon are the real dominant side in women's football. Historically, they have like in the last decade, they have like 7 Champions League or something.
Yeah.
So Lyon are the real, मतलब पता है, they are technically the Real Madrid of.
True,
of
and
football.
also Ada Hegerberg scoring, who is the format's मतलब most prolific goal scorer.
Exactly.
It is मतलब this couldn't have been more special for Lyon fans. I think उन्होंने एक फाइनल में सेम फाइनल हुआ था जिसमें वो लोग ने 4-0 हराया था बार्सा फेमिनी को ठीक है there was
4-1. They went 4-1. Yeah, they won 4-1. That was 2 years back. After which the Barca Femeni structure changed.
Correct. And I think so this is going into that direction because it has been an absolute hammering भाई मतलब आप मैं जब गेम भी देख रहा हूँ it started off with that wonder goal from Audrey ठीक है an absolutely wonder goal मैं खाना खा रहा था ठीक है मैं खाना खा रहा था उस टाइम पे मैंने ये गोल देखा मैं सीधा ऐसे पीछे हो गया ओ मेरे
भाई I am watching on Bein Sports ना
हाँ
तो Bein Sports पे तो नया पूरा 2019 Bein Sports पे तो पूरा किलियन एम्बापे का डॉक्यूमेंट्री का वो आगे का कल बड़ा एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री सेशन है किलियन एम्बापे का पूरा Bein Sports पे
क्या बात कर रहे हो सही में
मतलब नॉट लाइव लाइक उसका ये सीजन पूरा रिव्यू सीजन रिव्यू ओनली ऑफ किलियन एम्बापे
भाई वो उस पे तो आएंगे ही आएंगे उस पे अच्छा ठीक है अभी आए गए तो बात ही कर देते गाइस किलियन एम्बापे एंड मैं बस शेयर करता फॉर दोज हु आर प्रोबब्ली लिविंग अंडर अ रॉक आई जस्ट शेयर माय स्क्रीन and take you to that Fabrizio Romano ka tweet for all of those people who are probably living under a rock because I think so आपने देखा होगा this guy is मैन ओ मैन, ठीक है। मैन ओ मैन, कम ऑन, बनता है मतलब इसके बारे में डेफिनेटली बात करना। एंड सादिक भाई, हमने बहुत बात की है बाबा के चैनल पे, बट व्हाट वी प्रोबब्ली डिडंट
मैंने तो उसके
टॉक
बाद भी
अबाउट,
बहुत बात की है 2 और चैनल्स पे।
एग्जैक्टली, बट आई थिंक मैंने आपसे ज्यादा जो चीज नहीं सुनी है वो ये बात हो गई। और चैट पे भी जो है प्लीज अपने ओपिनियंस डालते रहिए। मैं एक बस क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, आपने क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो देखा, आपने डेविड बेकहम देखा, आपने ये सब जो प्लेयर्स हैं, इवन जिनेडिन जिडान को देखा, ये सब जो प्लेयर्स हैं दे केम इनटू रियल मैड्रिड after having accomplished something where they were before, ठीक है, they came to, probably you can argue this fact, when they came to Real Madrid they were under the impression that they want to stamp that, authority of greatness, ठीक है। तो दे डिड दैट, इफ उनके ऊपर भी ये चीज रहती कि वो जहाँ है वो उधर रहते, उनको भी एक काफी फ्लफ्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिल जाता। डोंट यू थिंक क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो व्हेन ही लेफ्ट फॉर रियल मैड्रिड, इफ ही वुड हैव showed even an indication to stay at United, he would have gotten a very good contract to
अरे
probably,
एनी डे,
हाँ,
एनी डे
to
ट्वाइस ऑन
prob
संडे।
exactly. So don't you think that at this particular point of time, it is, I think it is absolutely right for Real Madrid fans to berate him, and even for some neutral fans to berate him, because he is choosing a comfort zone. He isn't exact. So आप ये भी देखो, आप जब लीगा को देखते हो, it's the fifth league in terms of coefficients, right?
हम्म,
ठीक है, fifth league, it's behind Germany, ठीक है, and it's
यस।
closer to Portugal and Netherlands. How are you going to
आई
cement
थिंक ये सीजन की उसमें 6th पे आ जाएगी एट द एंड ऑफ दिस
अभी
सीजन बिकॉज़ द
at the end
पोर्चुगीज
of
क्लब
this?
विल परफॉर्म बेटर।
Correct, correct. So it will come to the sixth point. It's behind Portugal. Wow. Okay, it's behind Portugal. That says a lot. How are you cementing greatness for yourself in a league which is sixth in the coefficients? So even if you have won the Champions League, even if you win the World Cup, how are you cementing greatness by probably playing for PSG and not for a Real Madrid, and playing in a league in that sense?
अच्छा, देखो इधर देयर आर टू क्वेश्चंस। वन थिंग दैट नो स्पोर्ट्स फैन इज हैविंग, आई मीन नो फुटबॉल फैन इज हैविंग अ लुक एट राइट नाउ। रीजन बीइंग what is happening in football finances right now. This is a watershed moment in terms of football transfers and football player movement. I'll talk about
Hmm.
player movement.
Hmm.
अगर आप historically पीछे जाओ, I always quote the example of American sports, specifically the NBA. The NBA is one league where the contracts and things have gone up when it came to the television market and the television boom. The
Hmm.
television boom in US came in the 80s when it came for the sports world.
Sorry, bhai, I just take this comment. Sadiq bhai came here to reverse things the Watchalong Femeni will do today. Crazy. But anyways, continue.
Hopefully मजा आ जाएगा।
Anyways, continue.
So coming back to my point,
Hmm.
back in the day in American sports, there were certain clubs that players went to, especially the NBA, because NBA is the only sport where there is so much of player movement going on at the same time.
Hmm.
ठीक है ना? तो there were four major clubs, the four royal clubs, so to speak, in NBA. There was the
Hmm.
Los Angeles Lakers, there was the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers, and if I'm not mistaken, there was the New York Knicks.
Hmm.
These were the four major big market teams जहाँ पे उनके टेलीविजन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बहुत बड़े होते थे, उनको बहुत सारा पैसा मिलता था, एंड
Hmm.
मोस्ट प्लेयर्स वांटेड टू गो टू द बिग मार्केट क्योंकि बिग मार्केट पे टीवी और एडवर्टाइजमेंट एंड एंडोर्समेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज ज़्यादा होती थी।
Hmm.
देन केम 1983-84, उसके ड्राफ्ट में केम अ प्लेयर into the league whose name was Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Hmm.
When Michael Jordan came into the league, everyone was thinking कि अपना पहला कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा करेगा जो रूकी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, उसके बाद ये जाएगा कोई बड़े सिटी के टीम में।
Hmm.
दैट इज हाउ इट वर्कड, क्योंकि
Hmm.
फुटबॉल में होता आ रहा है इतने टाइम से, यू गो टू अ बिगर क्लब, वन ऑफ द लेगेसी क्लब,
Hmm.
एंड शिकागो बुल्स वाज नॉट अ लेगेसी क्लब एट दैट टाइम।
Hmm.
शिकागो वाज अ मिड वेस्टर्न डिसेंट साइज सिटी जिसकी एक टेलीविजन ऑडियंस अच्छी थी, टीवी एंडोर्समेंट्स थी, बट नॉट एज बिग एज एन एलए और अ न्यूयॉर्क और अ फिलाडेल्फिया और say a Boston for that matter.
Hmm.
Michael Jordan, when he came in and the TV boom came up, he found himself in the rare position where, and he was that good, and he
Hmm.
was that good a player. Okay? He found himself in the rare position where the money and everything came to him at a place where he did not have to leave.
Hmm.
When you talk about a Zinedine Zidane, when you talk about a Cristiano Ronaldo, when you talk about a Lionel Messi, to khair, he came up in the Barca setup. When you
Hmm.
talk about these players, that time in the late 90s, early 2000s, the endorsement was not as much the player, but quite a lot the club that he played for.
Hmm.
Because the marketing vehicle for you was not you yourself with your cell phone and your क्या बोलते हैं, and your social media handle, and you were not able to propagate your own marketing. You
Hmm.
needed a vehicle to market yourself and to maximize your financial and your economic gains,
Hmm.
and to maximize what you meant to the people and to the audience as a whole.
Hmm.
तो उसमें Zinedine Zidane gave 100% of his rights to a Real Madrid. Later on,
Hmm.
later on in the years, he took up a 60% back.
Hmm.
David
Hmm.
Beckham sold his rights. Cristiano
Hmm.
Ronaldo sold his rights. Now, a player like a Kylian Mbappe or say Erling Haaland for that matter, or any other future star that is coming up, say in the next
Hmm.
2-3 years, Yusufa Mokoko becomes the next big thing to
Hmm.
come into it.
Hmm.
These players now don't need a club as the vehicle to generate their popularity and their finances and to be that financial powerhouse that the players are.
Hmm.
This is what happened in American sports 20, 30 years back.
Hmm.
That's why when you come to the 2000s, you have a player the like of a Kobe Bryant who can go and tell the Los Angeles Lakers that people, I want Phil Jackson as my head coach in 2008. Otherwise, I'm leaving for your Clippers, your next
So,
door neighbor.
Sadiq, by 1 minute, I'll just address this. नहीं, not this. Sorry. केतुल का आप UCL फाइनल आप DAZN करके एक चैनल है यूट्यूब पे, उधर आप देख सकते हैं. ठीक है, यूट्यूब पे आपको मिल जाएगा. हाँ, अभी प्लीज
हाँ,
कंटिन्यू.
तो जब वो फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रक्चर उधर आ गया कि कोबी ब्रायंट जैसा प्लेयर बैठ के बोल सकता था कि भाई आप मुझे फिल जैक्सन ला के दो एज अ कोच, वरना मैं जा रहा हूँ क्लिपर्स के लिए खेलने के लिए. क्लिपर्स आर नथिंग. In the last few years, yes, they have made a playoff by getting us some good players and stuff. But उस वक्त Clippers का owner was the most कंजूस owner in the whole of sports. या गोल मार दिया?
नहीं नहीं, जस्ट
कुछ
ओवर द बार.
किया over the bar. So that was the whole scenario उस time. तो ये अभी क्या हो रहा है फुटबॉल में ना, आप why am I calling this the most important move after the Bosman ruling in 94-95? Bosman ruling brought free agency. पर अभी तक फ्री एजेंसी प्रैक्टिस नहीं हो रही थी सही तरीके से. This is the first time when a player came up and said, I'll play 2 clubs against each other and I will see who comes up with the biggest two.
पर
US में
सादिक
फ्री
भाई,
एजेंसी विंडो खुलता है, प्रॉपर फ्री
सादिक
एजेंसी
भाई,
विंडो, उसमें होता है
the
सारा
thing is,
business.
the thing is, all of that is great. ठीक है, all of that is great. What I'm trying to say is कि will Mbappe anywhere in the short term achieve the greatness that David Beckham did on the world stage, or a Cristiano Ronaldo did on the world stage, or a
Why not?
Zinedine Zidane did on the world stage?
I can give you an example. Zinedine Zidane was not known world over as that great a midfielder in 97-98, despite playing excellently well for Juventus and taking him to the UCL finals. ठीक है ना? Or those 2 headers in the World Cup final is what brought Zinedine Zidane into the consciousness of the entire world audience, not just a football audience. Kylian Mbappe has a extremely talented French team with him, perhaps more talented than the 98 team that he had and the 2018 team that won the World Cup. Some may argue. With that team, if Kylian Mbappe goes to this World Cup in Qatar, where he will be
हाँ,
plastered everywhere, where he will be plastered everywhere, and he ends up winning that World Cup and leading France to a World Cup win, which will be his second World Cup in a row.
but हाँ, my
That
my
cements him,
अच्छा
that
मेरा
cements him as a footballing great as well as a marketing great.
देखो मेरा मेरा सी मैं मेरा पॉइंट ये है कि आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द क्लब दैट ही गोस टू आई एम
Hmm.
टॉकिंग अबाउट द कंपटीशन दैट ही प्लेज विथ ठीक है द कंपटीशन दैट ही प्लेज विथ will he does he get that competition on a week in week out basis in Liga? I don't think so. But if you
I
probably
agree.
so when Erling Haaland has made this jump to Manchester City right now, ठीक है,
Hmm.
the closest competitor to him in terms of generational talent, ठीक है, currently in this current footballing industry. अगर अर्लिंग हॉलैंड ने जंप किया है मैनचेस्टर सिटी में, पीपल विल नॉट एनीवेयर एनी टाइम नाउ जज हिम कि भाई तो बुंडेसलीगा में कर बुंडेसलीगा में गोल मारा था, अभी ही इज competing against probably the best crop in the most watched league across Europe. ठीक है, तो
Agree.
अभी आप एम्बापे पे आओगे. Don't you think Mbappe should have made that jump to a little bit more competitive league so that he could assess himself a little bit more?
This is where I don't agree with what the strength of La Liga is being considered right now. Real
Hmm.
Madrid in a transition season with that
रुक
loaded
जाओ,
team of players
Steve
is
Bellingham.
smoking the La Liga.
रुक जाओ Steve Bellingham. We are watching the match, ठीक है, पर मैच के साथ साथ जो भी हो रहा है उसके साथ भी रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं, बट अकॉर्डिंगली वी आर ऑल्सो ट्राइंग टू कवर एम्बापे दैट. ठीक है, थैंक्स यार. हाँ, आप कंटिन्यू.
हाँ, तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि भाई एक मिनट यार, मेरा थॉट चला गया. जस्ट अ मिनट.
सॉरी भाई, सॉरी. हाँ,
एक मिनट. मैं कह रहा था कि if he goes to PSG right now, ठीक है, we are talking about the level of competition that he's having. हाँ, La Liga. La Liga में Real Madrid has won this season. ठीक है, with a rebuilding Barcelona, which we definitely know won't be having the financial muscle to rebuild as rapidly as they could have had their finances been in order. ठीक है, that is one point. Atletico Madrid is not any great shakes. Real Madrid is entering home by a larger margin over these teams as compared to what PSG has done in Ligue 1. So, him going to a Real Madrid that is already so overpowered compared to its competitors in its league, how does that change the level of competition for Mbappe as compared to what he's doing in Ligue 1?
I'm saying
At least in
the
Ligue 1,
people that he will play against, that he will test his skills against. I'm not saying the people that will play with.
I think we have to disagree here because the talent level in the French league, I think
Is
Olympic
great.
Marseille
Is great.
is
I'm
way
not
more
denying it.
talented than the second
I'm
number,
not
third
denying
biggest
it.
club.
I'm not denying it. But when it comes to the quality of football that you see, I have seen Liga this season a lot. A lot. Okay, a lot. Oh, bhai!
चौथा.
What a shot!
Oh, bhai! How did that not go in?
Fuck. Oh, bhai, what a shot, yaar.
Oh boy!
Sensational shot, bhai. Sensational attempt. This was David Beckham 2.0.
Yes, 95. David Beckham 95 all over again, bhai.
Proper. Fuck, bhai. So unlucky. Couldn't have been more unlucky. But what I was
Look, you were saying this.
what I was saying was the quality of football that is there in Liga, it's slightly more on a very patient kind of a zone rather than a more technical zone in which La Liga
I think it's how
bases
you
itself.
perceive technicality in your own way. From a defensive point of view, from a defensive standpoint, League On is more difficult to break down and more technically astute on the defensive side of the ball as compared to
तो आप
any other league.
डिफेंसिव स्टैंड से तो मतलब मैं तो बोलूंगा सेरिया इज द बेस्ट currently. from a defensive standpoint. वो तो मैं भी बोलूँगा defensive standpoint Serie A is the best currently. ठीक है.
तो
But
उनके
from a very
अगेंस्ट if a striker scores tons of
but
goals,
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ from very all round perspective when you look at football in general, the way most of the teams function within the La Liga, ठीक है, it's like at any given point of time a certain player can there will be overloads and there will be certain combinations, closed close passing within different people, and then boom, you can see an Espanyol attacker also attacking against Real Madrid or against Barcelona, which has happened. Okay, so all of these things happen a lot in the La Liga. They do
I feel,
happen in Liga as well, but these things are very rare and pretty rare, to be very honest.
but
Okay,
I
very
honestly
rare, to
feel
be
that
honest.
is more due to a lack of defensive talent and defensive nous in the La Liga, rather than that being a better play style, especially this season. That's what I'm saying.
Lack of
अपन क्या बात
defensive
कर रहे
now
थे?
तो नहीं बोलूंगा.
अपन यही
I
बात कर रहे थे
think
ना कि if
हाँ.
Mbappe comes to La Liga, he will tear La Liga apart. Why? Because those those wing defenders in La Liga are not that apt and that astute. यही बात हो रही थी ना, बारसा आएगा, जॉर्डी एल्बा को फोड़ देगा, एस्पेनियोल में उसको फोड़ देगा, वर्साल्को को एथलेटिको मैड्रिड में फोड़ देगा. What we are talking about is that defender not being capable enough to stop a Kylian Mbappe.
I think that's a way of looking at it. I'm not denying it. Okay, that's not wrong. But the other way of looking at it is also why we were saying that is क्योंकि जब आप अटैकर्स को देखते हो ला लीगा में, ठीक है, अटैकर्स का पोटेंशियल काफी ज्यादा है when in compared to the La Liga defenders. ठीक है, and it's not on the La Liga defenders that they have to step up a bit in that sense. It's just that attackers are that good in the La Liga. ठीक है, the attackers are that good in the La Liga.
Okay, defenders are that good in League One. So to me, honestly, right now, other than the Premier League, at this moment, this season specifically, no other league.
मुझे बस बहुत individualistic लगता है लीगा. ठीक है, बहुत individualistic लगता है as a league. When it comes to systems, when it comes to systems, when it comes to patterns, my scene when it comes to patterns, when it comes to systems, I think La Liga is more competitive when it comes to that aspect, and that is why that was my point. Oh bhai, penalty नहीं offside. ठीक है
भाई, आप आप ऑफेंसिव पैटर्न्स के साथ तब डिफेंसेस को ब्रेक करते हो when you're not being hit by a proper rock solid low block. We do see a lot of teams play low block in the La Liga, but they're not the rock solid defensively astute low blocks. वो बॉल मूवमेंट के साथ खुल जाते हैं.
ठीक है, सादिक भाई, फरासत का एक बार क्वेश्चन आप आंसर कर लो. काफी टाइम से उसने बोला है कि भाई चलो सादिक भाई पूछ ले. सादिक भाई, चूज इन ऑर्डर डियाबी, ओल्मो एंड एनकुंकू. ये बहुत ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड सवाल है. I'll ask the comments to please stick to the topic.
If you ask me, I know people may not agree, but I'll go with Diaby, Olmo and Nkunku in that order. Okay. And why I would go in that order is because, as I've always said, Diaby's output is he has been replicating that output season in season out for the last 2 to 3 seasons. What he does on the pitch is replicable by him again and again. What Dani Olmo has been doing, he has been able to replicate that again and again every season. And Nkunku, for the first time in 2 years, finally has overperformed his XG by a significant distance. And that could just be an aberration. So we need to see whether that is an aberration due to the play style of his team this season, or is that something that he can replicate season in and season out? That's the only reason. If you ask purely on this season, obviously Nkunku takes the cake because he's far ahead of those other two in terms of the numbers and the impact that he has had on his team. But if you ask as a whole, I would like to see Nkunku perform at the same level for at least another season.
Good
the same with
answer,
Vinicius. I would like to see Vinicius perform at the same level for another season as well.
Yep, सही बात है, सही बात. फ्राइबर्ग स्कोर का मतलब मुझे समझ नहीं आया क्या बोल रहे हो। ओके मॉड्स प्लीज डोंट स्पैम। जो भी है, क्या हाल है भाई लोग? सनी कुमार, क्या हाल है भाई? किलियन एम्बाप्पे बोल रहे हैं सादिक भाई बारसा आ जाओ क्या 3 ईयर के टाइम पे?
Bhai, if you do that, I will petition for a statue of yours outside the Camp Nou before your first game, bhai.
एफ ट्रैक प्लीज एक्सप्लेन इमेज राइट सादिक भाई, ओवर टू यू।
देखो, इमेज राइट्स आर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इशू, पर होता ये है कि एक प्लेयर जो है ना, उसकी अपनी, मतलब जब आप उसको, सिंपली ये बताऊं कि एक प्लेयर जब एडवर्टाइजमेंट करता है तो आप उसको कुछ पैसे देते हो, बिकॉज आप उसका इमेज या उसका लाइवलीहुड,
यूज कर रहे
तस्वीर
हो।
आप इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, ठीक है ना। तो जब आप उसकी तस्वीर यूज करो तो उसके जो पैसे जाते हैं वो टोटल प्लेयर को नहीं जाते। क्यों? क्योंकि वो प्लेयर इज इन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद अ सर्टेन कंपनी और अ सर्टेन क्लब। और पहले क्यों क्लब्स प्लेयर्स आर willing to give the club that, because the club was the actual marketing vehicle for you. लेकिन अब क्यों players are being a little bit more वो, क्योंकि players are actually driving their own marketing right now, and the club is adding to it rather than the club being the main source for it.
Yeah.
So
So
that is the difference क्योंकि है थोड़ा
that
बहुत।
basically sums up image rights in short. क्या डिफरेंस है यार? मतलब जब हम देखा करते थे फुटबॉल उस टाइम पे ये सब चीजें नहीं थी।
भाई मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, दिस इज बेसिकली एवोल्यूशन ऑफ दैट। जो मैंने बोला ना कि द बॉसमैन रूलिंग एज वाज द फर्स्ट वन, एंड दिस इज द एक्चुअल आउटकम ऑफ दैट।
आर्यन चौधरी बोल रहे हैं मैड्रिड को कौन से प्लेयर्स के लिए जाना चाहिए टू बिकम द बेस्ट टीम इन द वर्ल्ड अबव सिटी एंड लिवरपूल विदाउट एम्बाप्पे। यार आर्यन एक बात मैं बोलना चाहूंगा, व्हाई डू यू थिंक यू आर नॉट द बेस्ट टीम इन द वर्ल्ड? आपको अगर यूएफए चैंपियंस लीग जीत जाओ अगेंस्ट लिवरपूल राइट नाउ, व्हाई डू यू थिंक यू वोंट बी द बेस्ट टीम इन द वर्ल्ड? आपने ला लीगा, कार्लो एंसेलोटी हैज इज बोस्टिंग ऑफ अ ग्रेट रिकॉर्ड in terms of winning a league in almost all of the top European countries, ठीक है। एंड उसके ऊपर आप चैंपियंस लीग भी जीत जाओ, उसके उसके साथ आप ला लीगा भी एक अनप्रेसिडेंटेड टाइटल आप जीत जाओ ला लीगा का, मतलब विदाउट एनी कॉम्पिटिशन व्हाटसोएवर। तो आपको और क्या चाहिए? मतलब दिस इज व्हाट आई वाज डिस्कसिंग प्रीवियस पॉडकास्ट में भी। It's not a loss for Real Madrid fans. Real Madrid fans wake up थोड़ा सा. It's not a loss for you. ठीक है, अभी जब हीट थोड़ा सिमर डाउन हो गया ना मेरा, वो वही सोच रहा हूँ, इट्स नॉट अ लॉस फॉर यू। मतलब अगर आता तो बहुत अच्छी बात होती है डेफिनेटली, नहीं आया तो हो गया, क्या हुआ? क्या हुआ? मतलब यू क्या हुआ? आपके पास सब कुछ तो है, टीम तो बनी है आपकी, क्या हुआ?
देखो, I will say to Madrid fans, people fucking wake up right now. You guys are still the 13-time UCL champions. You guys still what you call yourself as the Rey de Europas. And to add to that, you have steamrolled the La Liga this season, including my team Barcelona, in terms of the point output and the point differential. And you are sitting in a Champions League final, about to win your 14th Champions League title probably. You have a team that is almost complete right now. You are going into next season without you're going into next season without spending a single penny, with perhaps the second best center back in the world coming to your team in Antonio Rudiger. You have a defensive line which is probably better than your Ramos and Varane defensive line from 2 years back. If you add Eder Militao next to Antonio Rudiger, send David Alaba to left back, all you need is a good understudy for Dani Carvajal for 2 years, who can then take over from him at the right back position.
Dani Carvajal का understudy भी नहीं सादिक भाई, I think even if they get a right back right now this season, right, he would probably take precedence over
Dani Carvajal. नहीं मिल रहा आपको, मैं कह रहा हूँ अगर नहीं मिल रहा है, no team is willing to sell the right backs. Go to a team like Lyon.
I remember making this point, ठीक है, once in a podcast before. Old school इसके आपका comment लेके स्टार कर दिया मैंने, मैं बाद में लूँगा। पर I remember making this point in a podcast कि do you need Kylian Mbappe? ठीक है, when this whole rumor had started, ठीक है, डू यू नीड लाइक रियली नीड किलियन एम्बापे? मैंने दिव्यांश के पॉड पे बोला था, एवरीवन वाज लाइक नहीं नहीं, किलियन एम्बापे को तुम कैसे मना कर सकते हो, कैसे? अरे क्यों नहीं मना कर सकते भाई? मतलब तो तुम्हारे वो पोजीशन पे डू यू नीड स्ट्रेंथनिंग? Do you need strengthening in the center forward position when Benzema is playing like this? Benzema will probably play like this for the next 2 years.
Bhai, I may sound
ठीक
a
है,
little immature here, लेकिन I think majority of our audience plays FIFA career mode.
या
5 सीजन आप करियर मोड में खेलो, आपका रोड्रिगो 97 रेटेड हो जाता है, आप जाके एम्बापे को नहीं खरीदते हो, आप जाके दूसरी पोजीशन खरीदते हो.
हाँ, तुम्हारा
As simple as that.
तुम्हारा Vinicius will grow up to be a beast. ठीक है, you can positionally train him also to become a center forward and
गुरुजी,
हाँ
जिन लोगों ने 18 ईयर ओल्ड की पोजीशन, 18 ईयर ओल्ड में जब विनिशियस और एम्बापे का कॉम्प्स अगर आप देखो ना जो आ रहे थे,
हाँ मैंने देखा था
विनिशियस वाज रेटेड हायर देन एम्बापे एज अ
एम्बापे.
टैलेंट.
I know exactly.
एंड हम अभी जो हम बात कर रहे थे कि एम्बापे अगर 2 वर्ल्ड कप जीत जाता है, एक यूसीएल जीत जाता है, ही विल बिकम अ लेजेंड. ठीक है ना,
हाँ, मैं चेस फॉरएवर का जस्ट एड्रेस करूंगा. विनिशियस टोबियस जो है ना राइट बैक, you would not consider him as like an immediate replacement for Danny Carvajal. What we are talking about is a right back like Reece James. ठीक है, if he would probably come down to Real Madrid, he would immediately displace Danny Carvajal on that right back position. I'm not saying from a Chelsea fan perspective. Sadiq bhai is not a Chelsea fan, but he would say the same thing. ठीक है, he would say the same thing because Reece James is absolute quality.
अरे रीस जेम्स इज बेस्ट राइट बैक इन द वर्ल्ड राइट नाउ.
हाँ,
अक्रॉस
तो
द बोर्ड.
हाँ वही चीज थी. सादिक भाई, you say you were talking about something at that particular point. Sorry to cut you off.
हाँ, मैं बात कर रहा था विनिशियस वाज रैंक्ड हायर देन एम्बापे एज एन 18 ईयर ओल्ड प्रोस्पेक्ट व्हेन ही केम इन. एंड हम वही बात कर रहे थे कि अगर एम्बापे वो सारी चीजें अचीव करता है तो वो एक ग्रेट फॉर लेजेंड बन जाएगा. द ब्राजील टीम इज आल्सो गुड. Mbappe, sorry, Vinicius could probably win a UCL now, win a World Cup at the end of this year, and at 21, his CV and accomplishments would be exceeding those of a Kylian Mbappe at 21. And you would have a Rodrigo who would have equal accomplishments and potential to probably exceed Mbappe as well in the coming year or two at the same age, what Mbappe is right now.
Right.
And you have a Benzema who's performing at God mode level right now, who can probably do that for 2 more years. In 2 years' time, you don't know who's the next big striker out there.
Exactly.
Karim Adeyemi is developing at Dortmund. Yusufa Moukoko is developing at Dortmund. There is some maybe little kid, 16, 17-year-old developing at some Brazilian club right now as a striker. You bring that guy in, boom, your team is set for next 10, 12 years without getting a Kylian Mbappe. And without having to spend all that money on a Kylian Mbappe, you have those financial resources to go and bring something else. And even make your team better. Imagine you bring a Chouameni. In 2 years' time, you can easily transition out of the KCM midfield into a Chouameni, Camavinga, Valverde midfield.
Easily. I mean, I was not even considering the center midfielders too much because I was like, even if probably Toni Kroos and Modric go away in around two years, Casemiro would probably still stick there for around 3 years minimum. ठीक है, आपके पास फिर भी Valverde and आपके पास ये है Camavinga है to probably slot in right there. ठीक है, you are still sorted for 3 years. You're still sorted at least for 3 years. ठीक है,
and you get a Chouameni on top of that. You get a Chouameni on top of
if you get a Chouameni on top of that, great. But I'm saying even if you don't, that is still not the emergency position that you would probably want to want to fill. ठीक है, the emergency position for you is right back. ठीक है, is right back. If you need to get a right back. As simple as that.
I'm hearing all people commenting कि अब तो Perez पागल हो जाएगा मार्केट में और ये भी as a Barca fan, trust me, I'll be happy if Perez does that. Because I have seen Perez go bonkers in the market before and create a team which is so imbalanced and so
top. क्यों चाहिए आकाश हाटुबारे? क्यों चाहिए?
क्यों चाहिए? सिर्फ नाम लाने के लिए.
हाँ, क्यों चाहिए?
क्योंकि आप लोग ने देखा नहीं है ना, आप लोग ने वो एरा नहीं देखा. आपकी जो डिस्प्ले पे वो मुझे बता रही है कि आपने वो एरा नहीं देखा है.
राइट विंग नहीं यार, एंड कुंकू नहीं. नहीं भाई, तुम यार
भाई आप लोग
एनकुंकू
सबने
एन,
2001, 2002, 2003 नहीं देखा फुटबॉल में। मैंने देखा है पेरेस को गोइंग बॉन्कर्स। वो इतनी टॉप हैवी टीम बना देता है कि वो टीम अपने प्लेयर्स के स्ट्रक्चर के दबाव के नीचे कोलैप्स कर जाती है।
हाँ
आई हैव सीन पेरेस डू द मिस्टेक टू फिट इन अ डेविड बेकहम, ही सोल्ड अ क्लॉड मार्केलेले।
एग्जैक्टली। ओ भाई कैसा मिस था ये।
यार क्या कर रही है बार्सा फेमिनी यार, दैट 3 goals they have missed यार,
What the fuck was this miss, bro?
सर ऑफसाइड था, इट वाज ऑफसाइड।
ऑफसाइड था वैसे भी।
एंकुंकू
हाँ
यार, अब एंकुंकू तुम लोग पता है क्या करोगे, तुम लोग अपना एंकुंकू बोल के एंकुंकू बुलवा लोगे मैड्रिड और उसका हशर करवाओगे हामिस रोड्रिगेज वाला।
सही में मैं वही नाम लेने वाला था अभी, मैं वही नाम लेने वाला
You
था।
will get Nkunku to Real Madrid by putting pressure. Perez will see the social media. He will go get Nkunku, and you will turn him into the next, either him or you will turn Vinicius into the next, or Rodrigo into the next James Rodriguez.
This is a very good shout, and I still believe this. I still
Because
believe
he
this
is
is.
the right winger.
हाँ, this is a very good shout, and I still believe this is a very very good shout. Salah coming to Real Madrid on that right wing position would be a very good addition.
भाई if Liverpool lose the final and he does that, ना मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, you will never walk alone की जगह you will never walk again हो जाएगा।
भाई लेवेंडोव्स्की जा सकता मैड्रिड में। आप वही चीज कर रहे हो आशिर, आप वही चीज कर रहे हो। सी कमेंट्स पे जो भी देख रहे हैं, ठीक है, अभी आप सेम चीज कर रहे हो। आपको अगर एम्बापे नहीं मिला, क्या आप वही आपको स्टार नेम के पीछे क्यों जाना है? आपको वो
भाई
मार्केटिंग
Madrid used
एस्पेक्ट।
to play a 4-5-1 back in the day,
हाँ
and they brought a Ronaldo R9 on top of a Raul Gonzalez.
हाँ हाँ
I think Guruji, you have seen that Real Madrid.
Yeah, I've seen that Real Madrid. Yeah.
That team was only functional when Guti was fit.
Exactly.
Guti
Exactly.
made that team tick. वरना वो imagine the midfield of Zidane.
भाई
I'm
गूटी को
not
पता है,
functioning at all.
गूटी को सिर्फ लालीगा फैंस अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, बट वर्ल्ड यूरोपियन फुटबॉल में गूटी सच एन अंडर अप्रिशिएटेड फिगर। आई कांट इवन टेल यू
अरे
मैन।
he was a brilliant glue guy. वो जो midfield में glue guy होता है ना, he was, I think, अगर मैं बोलूँ, he was a Tony Cruz before a Tony Cruz kind of a player.
RM going for Gnabry and Chouameni के बारे में बात कर चुके हैं काका। Gnabry is again a very good shout, ठीक है, जो आप बोल रहे हो Gnabry भी बहुत अच्छा रहेगा, बट अगेन रुग्वेद का मैं कमेंट हाईलाइट करूंगा, बिकॉज दिस इज समथिंग दैट वी हैव केप्ट ऑन टॉकिंग अबाउट इन दिस पॉडकास्ट, ठीक है। राइट बैक is the way to go, and this brings me, like, seeing all of these names, right, Sadiq bhai, this brings me to a conversation that I think we were having on some other pod, but I think it's great to bring it on here. Whenever we think of star names, all of us probably think of strikers and attackers, man. Okay, whenever we think of star names, and it's such a funny thing to happen to football over the years. It's such a funny thing. मतलब अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ, अभी सबको बोल रहा हूँ कि 5-10 मिनट, एटलीस्ट 10-15 मिनट से हम बोल रहे हैं कि आपको स्ट्राइकर नहीं चाहिए, आपको स्ट्राइकर नहीं चाहिए, आपको स्टार नेम्स नहीं चाहिए, और बट सभी स्टार नेम्स दे रहे हैं, और सबको डिबाला, लेवेंडोव्स्की, एनकुंकू, एवरीवन थिंक्स ऑफ एन अटैकर. What has changed over this period? What is this overwhelming, like, attention giving scene that is on strikers right now? Is this face value thing ever going to end in football? Because I want it to end. I want a problem Reece James to probably get the attention that, let's say, a Bobatov used to get at United. Okay. I want that to happen. Is that happening? I don't think so that's happening, and I don't know why. What's the reason behind it?
I think पता है क्या है गुरुजी, the more evolution of statistics and things like XG and things coming into the regular parlance, ये तब तक नहीं आएगा जब तक आप के statistical markers और evolve होंगे, जहाँ पे आप defensive statistics को बहुत ज़्यादा दिखा सकते हो कि भाई डिपेंड कि क्या है, कि वो डिफेंसिव स्टैटिस्टिक्स क्या है, डिफेंसिव स्टैटिस्टिक्स कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट है, तब जाके आप एक फुल बैक का ओवरऑल कंट्रीब्यूशन समझोगे. वरना आप फुल बैक्स में भी सिर्फ एक फुल बैक, you will understand the contributions of a fullback like a Trent Alexander-Arnold. You will understand the contribution of a fullback like a Ivan Perisic or a Kostic, क्योंकि वो इतना आगे जा रहे हैं, इतना बॉम्ब फॉरवर्ड कर रहे हैं, they're giving those cross things. लेकिन आप ये क्यों भूल जाते हो कि half of the game is defense. आप अगर उस एस्पेक्ट को नहीं समझोगे, and especially जब आप एक फुल बैक की बात करते हो, the key word being there is back. He is a back line player. He is a defender. वो उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो उसका रोल है.
सही बात बोल रहे हो.
उस चीज को लोग समझते नहीं है, लोग उस चीज को गेम में देखते नहीं, क्योंकि हाइलाइट्स में वो आता नहीं है.
इस गैरी लिनेकर के ऑन दिस टॉपिक ऑफ एम्बापे, गैरी लिनेकर का एक ट्वीट हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि किसी ने बोला है कि वो ट्वीट हाईलाइट करो, तो वही करता हूँ. 2 मिनट. Just do this. Yes.
Second half, Barca's played well, so far.
Yes, so far, but I think this match is going only one way. ठीक है.
They may pull a goal back, I think.
One goal back, but I don't think so. Lyon will concede too many. Also, Lyon का यही scene है.
Defensively sound.
They have been pretty defensively sound, or not just this game, but throughout the Champions League season. So that is the scene. But Gary Lineker बोल रहा है, I love Spanish football. But the bleating about Kylian Mbappe staying at PSG, ruining the sport, is a bit much. The two Spanish giants have always attracted and paid enormous sums for the game superstars. No one else got a look in. Can't always have things your own way.
Perfectly put. Perfectly put. This is what I've been trying to say since this whole furor over this thing has come up. कि भाई 50s, 60s, Real Madrid was the financial powerhouse. They built any team that has built their legacy. Any footballing team or any sports team for that matter, that is any of these legacy clubs in any sport you go across, whenever they have built their legacy, it's been built on serious financial backing. Correct. Madrid had serious financial backing from the royal family in the 50s and 60s, on the basis of which they were able to get an Alfredo Di Stefano and a Ferenc Puskás in the team. On the basis of which they built that 5 European titles and everything, and then they became the household name, which then became self-sufficient.
Correct.
Similarly, 80s ki AC Milan was built, 80s and 90s ki AC Milan was built on the financial muscle of a Silvio Berlusconi. The Bayern Munich from the 17s was built because even in that 50+1 thing, they had the 3 biggest sponsors or 3 biggest corporate giants in Germany being the 49%. So the 49% was such a big pie that the rest 51% could be a much larger pie. Contribute a lot. That was built on the basis of financial power. Then you come to the Barcelona teams of that Johan Cruyff philosophy team. बाद में जाके वो आपके मेसी और एकेडमी से आए, जब आपके पास पैसा और एक स्ट्रक्चर बन गया.
ओ भाई कैसे मिस कर दिया वापस यार. सॉरी.
क्या कर रहे हैं यार ये लोग.
कितना चांस मिस कर दिया भाई सेकंड हाफ में बार्सिलोना. डूड शिट.
They should have won it. They should have been leading 4-3 right now.
Fuck my life, man. But anyways, continue. क्या बोल रहे थे?
Then you had the Barcelona team in the 90s that was built. Koeman was bought. Romario was bought. Stoichkos was bought.
प्रांतिक देख लिया भाई. ला लीगा ने देख लिया. ला लीगा अनाउंस. बोलिए.
You know, we were talking about Shearer broke the transfer record at 15 million. Immediately after that, Barcelona broke the transfer record at 20 million for R9. 95 में. जो कि आज के फुटबॉल के उसमें 250 मिलियन बनता है as a transfer fee. Then you talk about any team. United. I was telling them United used to get 30 to 40% of the television pie.
Yeah. At that point of time it made sense also.
50% तक भी गए थे.
आप ला लीगा का स्ट्रक्चर देख लो. ला लीगा के ब्रॉडकास्ट का आप स्ट्रक्चर देख लो. ला लीगा के ब्रॉडकास्ट.
Barca and Madrid are being paid.
Exactly.
So
same
thing. Now when City and PSG are coming in, see when Chelsea came in, everyone was pissed off at Chelsea. Chelsea
Hmm.
also needed that cash influx to establish yourself initially. अब आप लोग
Hmm.
सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो, सेल्फ रनिंग क्लब हो.
Hmm.
जब चेल्सी आई लोगों ने शोर मचाया. जब सिटी और पीएसजी आई लोगों ने इसलिए शोर मचाया ज्यादा because the financial muscle that these legacy clubs already had going on for them.
Hmm.
Now the ball game was different,
Hmm.
where a Real Madrid and Barcelona could go for a 60, 70, 80 million signing, 90
Hmm.
million signing. These clubs could easily go for a 250 million signing.
Correct.
तो जब
Hmm.
बॉल गेम आपका चेंज हो गया, जब आपका बॉल गेम चेंज हो गया, देन यू कांट मैच इट.
हाँ
देन यू
मतलब
कांट.
आप
आप
और एक
कंप्लेन इसलिए कर रहे हो आप कंप्लेन
हाँ
इसलिए कर रहे हो अभी क्योंकि यू आर नॉट द बिग डॉग ऑन द टेबल, सो टू स्पीक.
और एक कंप्लेन भी इसलिए करे बिकॉज अगेन टेबास knows the pulling power that an Mbappe has to.
अरे डोंट टॉक अबाउट Tebas. If Tebas was so concerned about the La Liga, he would definitely, there were loopholes in that salary cap rule which Tebas could have
Exactly,
activated, and he could have
exactly.
kept Messi at Barcelona.
So now the
Tebas is
thing is,
only,
I think he
to be very
realizes.
honest, even if people hate me for that, Tebas is only concerned about Madrid.
Please score, please score. अरे नहीं
Score.
भाई, what defending भाई, what defending. Who why ये why somebody told me Oshwala should come in the second half. Oshwala has been nothing short of just being piss poor in the second half.
यार Oshuala has been so wasteful यार.
Piss poor, piss poor. Can't say anything more than that. Piss poor. Hermoso का जगह पे है ना, if I'm not wrong. हाँ,
हाँ.
Hermoso का जगह पे है. Piss poor. But anyways, coming back to this zone, I was what this comment मैंने इस comment को इसलिए highlight किया था because अभी this comment also gives me a chance to transition into the next thing, that is key, the involvement of two governments in the picture right now. Why I was saying Tebas Mbappe wala scene because uh, Tebas knows Mbappe की pulling power, like audience की pulling power बहुत अच्छी है. If Mbappe is playing in the La Liga, he will pull a lot of audiences, he'll pull a lot of money from a marketing perspective, he'll do a lot of things like that. Because right now in the La Liga, if you're looking at players, there aren't a lot of players who can probably do that. Poster boys, जो बोलते हैं. Poster boys. There aren't a lot of poster boys in the La
Even
Liga.
Benzema doesn't do that. Benzema
Exactly.
as a player is very good, but he doesn't do that.
He's not
For
a
you.
poster boy. This guy is a youth icon right now. Okay, he's a youth icon right now. Okay, and if you get a youth icon, by short sales will go over the roof. That is something that Tebas has. I think La Liga as a whole, they felt that they have lost out on. Okay, so they have taken it personally upon themselves. But I think it's too late by actually issuing that appeal. It's pretty late because I think the Liga has done a beautiful thing by involving uh, the governments into the picture. Because अगर to everyone who's watching, ये मैं सादिक भाई ने ये comment मेरा पहले सुना था, and I'm just saying that here to improve French football from a marketing standpoint in the world footballing scenario, and also to improve the viewership of Liga so that more people can watch Liga. Because let's face it, since Messi uh, got transferred to PSG, there has been an increase in PSG ka match watching. Okay, so that is why I think all of these things you can't exactly let go of your poster boy as well from Liga. So that is something that they have gone forward with, and they said, okay, fine, हम Pochettino और Leonardo को हटा देंगे, which is going to happen apparently according to Fabrizio Romano, पर इसको नहीं जाने देंगे. So what are your opinions about this whole situation? कि भाई मतलब Tebas and governments getting involved. What is this? What are your opinions on this?
See, government have definitely got involved because if Kylian Mbappe stays at PSG and PSG like sort of they have some control over Mbappe, the Qatar World Cup can be advertised beautifully.
Hmm.
ठीक है ना? And the
Hmm.
second thing is if he stays at PSG within France, so
Hmm.
French football will also benefit. because of the fact that Kylian Mbappe brings in those eyeballs, and not just that.
This.
But Messi has accounted because this was a new shirt that was going in. The Mbappe 7 was not a new shirt.
No, but
ठीक है
I
ना?
think he's trying to support our point
हाँ
itself.
सही है
Yeah.
हाँ वही
हाँ.
वही तो
हाँ.
उसमें फ्रांस फुटबॉल को एक और फायदा पता है क्या होगा?
Hmm.
How much do you think Aurelien Chouameni will go for? 80 to 70 to 100 million?
Hmm.
ठीक है?
Hmm.
The same Aurelien Chouameni was available last season for 30-35 million, and it's not that he has improved that significantly compared to his previous year.
सही है. हाँ.
ठीक है? बल्कि I would feel Chouameni last season was better than what he's been this year.
हाँ. सही
But
है.
why not make people know about him? Because Messi was not there in Ligue 1 and no one watched Ligue 1. This season, when people watched Ligue 1, they finally figured out, okay, there's a Chouameni there is a Boubacar Kamara there, there's an Arsenal loanee called William Saliba, who's probably one of the best centre backs in the world right now.
Hmm.
So when that brings eyeballs to the league, what that does it allows the league to market and sell its younger commodities. So the junior clubs or the lower clubs also tend to benefit from the financial influx that comes with it.
Yeah.
So that in a way allows French football at the grassroots levels to grow further. And that's why French football is continuously producing those talents. सडनली आपको पिछले 12 साल में क्यों दिख रहा है कि फ्रांस में से इतना टैलेंट आ रहा है?
Hmm.
Because since that PSG investment in 2011-12 came in, they have had the money going into the league, which is then being invested into the grassroots to bring up those footballers जो कि पेरिस के स्लम्स के जो बास्केटबॉल केजेस हैं उसके अंदर वो लोग फुटबॉल खेलते हैं.
Hmm.
वो टैलेंट को ऊपर लाने के लिए एकेडमीज और वो ग्रासरूट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं होता था पहले इन फ्रेंच फुटबॉल. पिछले 10
देख
साल
लेंगे देवेश, देख लेंगे. ठीक है, कंटिन्यू. हाँ सादिक भाई.
पिछले 10 साल में जब से वो आना शुरू हुआ है 5-6 साल लगे उनको. उसके बाद अब आप टैलेंट का इन्फ्लक्स देखो यार. सेंटर बैक में जगह नहीं है फ्रांस की टीम में खिलाने के लिए.
हाँ. नहीं
सीडीएम में जगह नहीं है खिलाने के लिए.
सही बात बोल रहा हूँ.
आपको मैं सीडीएम बताऊंगा, आप कमारा खिलाओ, चुआमेनी खिलाओ, कांटे खिलाओ. अभी तो मैंने राबियो का नाम नहीं लिया. राबियो इज अ वेरी गुड सीडीएम व्हेन ही प्लेज सीडीएम.
करेक्ट. करेक्ट.
सो दैट इज द कैलिबर ऑफ टैलेंट दैट इज. और कितने प्लेयर्स का भी हमने नाम नहीं लिया है. बादेशिली का हमने नाम नहीं लिया एज अ सेंटर बैक राइट.
तो गाइस, अभी जैसे आप लोग बोल रहे हो, मुझे चेक करने को बोला, मैं अभी सामने देख रहा हूँ मेरे, एंड दिस गाय हैज साइंड टिल 2027. ठीक है. किलियन एम्बापे, पीएसजी का अनाउंसमेंट आ गया. ठीक है, तो ऑफिशियली अनाउंस. हाँ,
दैट्स नॉट अ 3-year deal, that's a 5-year deal.
हाँ. सो पीएसजी हैव मेड एम्बापे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्सटेंशन ऑफिशियल. मतलब ये तो होना ही था. हियर वी गो आ गया था, तो आई थिंक मोस्टली होना ही था ये चीज़. ठीक है, और उसके पहले भी हमने बहुत सारी चीज़ें देखी थी, पर आई जस्ट I was thinking if it's a 3-year deal, it would have made a little bit more sense. But I think this guy is like, the club is now going to be formed around Kylian Mbappe.
अच्छा गुरुजी,
And हाँ,
I will put that same argument to you
हाँ,
जो मैंने बाबा के उस पे किया था.
हाँ.
If Mbappe
2025 है, sorry, my bad, 2025 है, 3-year deal.
25,
But anyways, हाँ, it's still in that zone. I would not like
now
veer
you're
away from
saying
my point.
people were arguing why would a Zidane come to PSG, ठीक है ना, as a manager with Mbappe having all that power with a single player. Imagine Mbappe himself sitting down with a Zinedine Zidane, telling him कि भाई you know my capabilities and my talent, ठीक है ना, I will be the one constant in your team for 3 years. And Mbappe, knowing him to be a smart footballer, he must be knowing that I cannot scout, I cannot decide on all those things. Bring a guy like a Zidane who knows what to do with my talent and ask him what he wants in the team.
Sadiq
I have the
bhai,
ear of the pod. What I tell to
If
Nasser
Zid-
Khalifi will do that for me.
Sadiq bhai, if Zidane comes into the picture, only then will I completely agree to the point that this PSG team is going to definitely win the Champions League. Okay.
I'm still
If
thinking that.
if
I'm
Zidane comes into
80%.
the picture,
I'm 80% confident Zidane is the next domino that's coming to PSG in the summer.
but I think Zidane is more or less looking at the France job. Okay.
I think probably Zidane is a guy who also looks at his legacy and he feels that okay, people tell him you won it at Madrid. Even as a player, he was accused of that you won it only at Madrid. You could not do it at Juventus, despite going to three finals. Sorry, two
I
finals.
agree. From that aspect, I definitely agree. But
And
why
Zidane
I'm
has that
saying,
ego.
but why I'm saying Zidane is looking at the France job because Deschamps के ऊपर already मतलब it's Deschamps का public perception is like a roller coaster. ठीक है? It's like a roller coaster, and this roller coaster, if in the next World Cup, if they don't qualify for the final, that will be considered a failure for France. And I
But don't
think,
you think a person like Zidane, who's
huh,
doing a job at PSG, where he knows that my league is fairly easy to win every year,
good.
he could do
I'm
both the jobs. He could take both the jobs, sitting in
I'm
France,
not.
doing.
No, no, no. He won't. He won't. He won't. That I'm 100% sure that he won't take both the jobs. That's too much of a challenge. That's
But if
too much
someone
of a
who
challenge.
has the
अरे
who is bonkers enough to do it is Zidane.
सादिक भाई हम फीफा नहीं खेल रहे हम
हाँ,
फीफा
मुझे
में
पता है. But I'm saying
हाँ
if someone who's bonkers enough to do it is Zidane.
is Zidane, but I think it takes too much of from you. It takes too much from you, and I don't know whether Zidane is probably ready to do that. I don't think so. Any human being is probably ready to do it currently.
I feel Zidane is willing to take a 3-year gamble
Hmm.
and come to PSG to build this
Hmm.
team around Mbappe.
Why? I think I'll beg to differ. I still think that uska dimag makes the France job. I've been there. I've talked about this a lot of time, and I think Zidane would be the perfect fit for France. Like perfect fit for the French national
But
team.
I feel Zidane would be the perfect fit for the PSG job because if there is one person
वो तो है
who can,
ही वो तो है ही मैं तो मना नहीं
if
कर
there is one person who can stand up to a Leo Messi and say, "Okay, dude, yes, I know what you have done, but first check what I have done." That is Zinedine Zidane.
रहा वीके बोल रहे गंजे को और कितना गंजा करना है सादिक भाई I think for the first few months he would definitely rip his hair out जब वो PSG में रहेगा but boy oh boy they hit the bar भाई you know what जब हम बात करते हैं एम्बापे के बारे में बीच बीच में मैच देख रहा था मैं जब आप एम्बापे के बीच में कुछ चीज बोल रहे थे अभी अभी मैंने देखा कि देयर वाज अनदर चांस दैट वाज मिस्ड बाय बार्सिलोना could have easily scored 5 in the second half
5-6, 5-6 in the second half.
5 to 6 in the second half and somehow it is still 3-1 and this is highly very very surprising just because of the performance that both teams have given on the night. And I think Oshuala that this substitution has been pretty bad. But yeah, I mean,
I think Oshuala has been bad and probably not playing someone like क्या बोलते हैं someone like a Leila Wahabi on one of the wings is also a problem.
yes,
They have played
absolutely.
this lady with a difficult name that Shirgaran something.
Ha
She
ha
was
ha.
bad in the Wolfsburg game also. I mean, her
Hmm.
final delivery was poor in the Wolfsburg game and today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But you gotta credit Leon ke fullbacks. They're absolutely brilliant. Like when I'm talking about Carpenter, तो जल्दी चली गई आज.
Hmm.
But when I'm talking about Buchanan
Game's
and
over.
then Selma Buka,
Game's over. They have
ठीक
won
है
it.
हाँ they have won it मैं सामने ही वही देख रहा हूँ. Selma Buka and Buchanan, they have been absolutely brilliant. Like some of their crosses were outstanding. ठीक है outstanding. तो मतलब I think as a team they have done well, Leon, but this should
Absolutely.
have gone into extra time. This should have gone into extra time. Like minimum
I think
like
Barca
ऐसा
Femeni honestly, if they would have taken the chances, they should have won it in regulation.
हाँ मतलब मेरे दिमाग में वही है कि एटलीस्ट 2 गोल होने चाहिए थे और बारसा फैमिली के एटलीस्ट दे शुड हैव
At
फिनिश्ड
least
2 ऑफ देयर चांसेस एटलीस्ट
their
minimum
second
2
half
of their
deserved at
chances.
least 2 goals.
Yeah, bro. Definitely. But wow, man, finally, Barca family dethroned. Barca
But they
family
lost their last
dethroned.
two Champions League matches, na? They lost to Wolfsburg and they lost to Lyon.
Hmm.
But Wolfsburg का second leg हारे थे ना 2-0.
हारे थे, correct.
But
वो
I
जो
am not watching. I am not watching any more Barca Femeni matches on a watch along or on a live stream. I've watched 2 and they've lost both. That gives you the level of defender I am.
नहीं यार, but when you came onto the live stream, उस time पे they were already losing, so you can't exactly put the blame on you for this particular loss. मतलब they were already losing, so you can't say that. गौरव बोल रहे हैं what goes around comes around, Louis Figo. वो
Don't even
ये
get me
आएगा
started. Don't get me
ये
started.
आएगा गौरव, ये आप बोल सकते हो जब शायद 3 साल बाद एम्बापे comes to Barcelona.
अरे भाई, I will go batshit toxic that day if that happens.
3 साल में Javi builds a project like which is an absolute superpower. ठीक है, Javi builds this project to an absolute superpower project. ठीक है, if
And
he does
Barca
that.
and the new Camp Nou is ready and Barca's finances are sorted out.
Yeah,
You drop
then
in a Kylian Mbappe into it.
you drop a Kylian Mbappe into the picture. A Pedri and a Kylian Mbappe playing together.
And
That
that
would
will be like a peak entering into his prime Pedri. No, not even.
exact.
Many. That would be a 22-year-old Pedri, not and a 20-year-old Gavi.
Yeah, man, exactly. But ईशान चावला का comment है एक अच्छा. I feel like Mbappe just made a genius move. He now power can build this PSG team to make himself the best and eventually make them win UCL and become the greatest PSG player ever and a lot of money. There are a lot of ifs here, Ishan. ठीक है. There are a lot of ifs here. That is the problem. Briefly put. ठीक है.
But
That is
Guruji,
the problem.
I see it not as a problem, but rather Mbappe taking that risk on his own self that I can be that great. I look at it from when Michael Jordan agreed to stay at Chicago, the first 6 years the narrative was the guy can score a ton of points but he can't win championships. Finally, when there was an untested coach by the name of Phil Jackson joining in, and he clicked with Michael Jordan because they were trying to get the players that Jordan liked. He clicked with Jordan and guided Jordan into understanding that, listen, this is your game. For your game, a Scottie Pippen is important. For your game, a Horace Grant is important. You don't need to get that star name next to you.
Correct.
So once you get a coach who can make Mbappe understand that, and he tries to unlock his own potential, you have no idea where he could go to. So I feel, and people were cursing Jordan at that time that he's not smart enough to demand a move to a better team. He's just there for the money. He's just there for this. He has his Nike deal in Chicago, XYZ. And he was getting millions at that time. Tens of millions at that time. But imagine Jordan signed a $30 million contract in the 90s per year. Which आज के ज़माने में is the same as to what Mbappe is signing right now.
यार सबील जो पेरेस ने गैलेक्टिकोस साइनिंग की बट सेम पीएसजी कर रही है, इसमें गलत क्या है? पीएसजी सेम नहीं कर रही है, उसके लिए हम गलत नहीं बोल रहे हैं. जिस तरह से ये प्रोसेस हुई है उसके लिए हम आई थिंक पीएसजी को डेफिनेटली गलत ही मानेंगे, क्योंकि एट अ पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम जब दूसरे क्लब को, जैसे अगर मैं कोई बोलूँ कि दूसरे कंपनी को पता है कि आप उन्हें ज्वाइन करने वाले हो, ठीक है, आपने पेपर साइन अपेरेंटली किया था, ठीक है, अग्रीमेंट हो गई थी, एटलीस्ट वर्बल अग्रीमेंट हो गई कि आप उनको ज्वाइन करने वाले हो, एंड सडनली आउट ऑफ द ब्लू आपने करंट कंपनी के साथ अपना पे हाइक लेके आप करंट कंपनी पे ही रह गए एट द एंड मोमेंट, ठीक है। इसी चीज पे neutral fans are kind of unhappy because this doesn't follow the spirit of football.
आई थिंक
वही
पीएसजी ने
चीज
कुछ
है।
गलत नहीं किया है,
हाँ,
पीएसजी एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने कुछ गलत नहीं
PSG,
किया,
हाँ, sorry, PSG as an organization hasn't done anything wrong,
तो
but
उनके ऊपर पैसा है
problem मैं नहीं, PSG has done wrong by probably involving the government into the picture, ठीक है,
ना
involving,
गुरुजी।
हाँ,
देखो
बट
एज एन
ये भी चीज है,
ऑर्गेनाइजेशन,
मैं भी रॉन्ग हो सकता हूँ क्योंकि ये भी चीज हो सकती है कि गवर्नमेंट्स विलिंगली इन्वॉल्व हुए होंगे, सो टू कीप एम्बापे इनटू द
मैं
वर्क।
कह रहा हूँ पीएसजी ने इन्वॉल्व किया गवर्नमेंट्स को। व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज मार्केट में एक कमोडिटी है जो कि बहुत वैल्यूएबल है, ठीक है ना। अब आई हैव अ सर्टेन क्लाउड एंड सर्टेन assets on my side which I can use to entice that employee to come and join, to continue remaining at the company. But this has happened with me when I was planning to go to the UK. My current hospital here was saying come and have a sit down with us, क्या हो गया, आप क्यों जाना चाह रहे हो, आप रुक जाओ, सैलरी बढ़ा दें, ये कर दें, वो। मैं बोली नहीं, मैं यूके आई वांट टू गो फॉर सम करियर एडवांसमेंट पर्पसेस। Then they said okay, then I don't think we can entice you anything क्योंकि आपका ऑप्शन ही टोटली डिफरेंट है what you're trying to do in your career. वरना they were willing to offer me certain things, they were willing to bring in certain incentives. अब वो आपकी कंपनी के ऊपर है। अब PSG had the luxury with them to bring in the two governments in. Real Madrid did not have that luxury to bring in those governments in.
They could.
For the last 3 decades, Real Madrid is sitting on the other side of the fence. Why Madrid fans are so hurt right now? Because they've never faced it before. For the last 3 decades, they have been sitting on the other side of the fence, having the pull of a Real Madrid, having the Real Madrid marketing machine to show to players at a time when marketing machines were not that active, and having the financial muscle on their back to tell the player that you won't make more money anywhere else except us. PSG has not ruined the free agency talks. You guys don't get it. For players, PSG has made a brilliant thing for players. Every single player right now, I would say, is happy this move has been made by Kylian Mbappe, because what it does, it opens free agency up now. Every player will hit that final year of his contract. And then he will go and he will talk to 3 clubs, 4 clubs, and he will say offer लेके आओ, मैं देखता हूँ मैं किसके पास जा रहा हूँ. Show me what you got. This players are happy. Players are super happy. Clubs, on the other hand, are pissed. Who don't have the financial muscle. A Newcastle is not pissed. Newcastle is like, okay, boy, this is how we are going to play. Let us get into Europe in one season. Then we will show you the game.
500 to 700 million is not wrong. If it's not wrong, then I'm sorry, Guruji, don't expect defenders to be valued ever again. ये कौन सा point है? ये क्या point बोल रहे हैं? मुझे समझ में नहीं आया.
Manish, point is 500 to 700 million is not wrong for you to say is easy, because I don't think any of us has ever seen 100 million in our lives. In any currency. In any currency. I don't think I've seen 100 million yen in my life. In one go. When
Exactly.
I was explaining how big is a billion, right? This is just 200 short of a billion, 300 short of a billion that he's getting. A billion is big enough that you spend 100,000 every month for the rest of your life without adding a single penny. एक पैसा उसमें डाले बगैर आप $1,00,000, ये this is in dollars, right? $1,00,000 आप हर महीने खर्चा करो. $1,00,000 कितने होते हैं? डॉलर कितने का चल रहा है इंडिया में अभी?
देख लेते हैं और क्या.
70
उतना ले लो.
चलो take 70. तो 70 लाख रुपए.
77.8.
हाँ तो 70 है. तो आप 70 to 75 lakh rupees per month spend करो for the rest of your life every month without earning a single penny, and it will last you for 82 years.
Hmm.
That's multi-generational money, and he's getting
Hmm.
that in 3 years.
Hmm. True.
So, bhai, if a company has money to entice someone, they will
Hmm.
entice that. This is my
Hmm.
point. Zidane wanted full control.
Zidane
Zidane
left.
needs
So
Zid-
I think
Zidane
idhar
just needs to have
I
a
think
talk with
Harsh,
Mbappe.
I'll like to answer this. Matlab, I think either when Zidane comes into the picture and का एम्बापे का ईगो इतना बड़ा नहीं होगा कि आप एक फ्रेंच लेजेंड मतलब करंटली आई थिंक एक फ्रेंच लेजेंड ही नहीं फुटबॉलिंग आइडल को आई थिंक एम्बापे समवेयर डाउन द लाइन ही वुड हैव आइडलाइज्ड जिडान
The
ठीक है
greatest French footballer of all time.
हाँ, तो आप अगर देख रहे हो कि ज़िडान इज़ प्रोबेबली इन द डगआउट फॉर यू एंड अगर आप एक टाइम पे ये भी सोच रहे थे कि आप रियल मैड्रिड जाओगे एंड प्रोबेबली ही इज़ बीन एटलीस्ट इन इन द लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स ही इज़ बीन वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स फॉर द गैलेक्टिकोस तो आप ये दोनों क्राइटेरिया को आप जब दिमाग में रखोगे तो डेफिनेटली यू विल जस्ट सिट डाउन एंड लिसन टू दैट मैन ठीक है and try to be better at what you're better at what you are. I think that's why I said the only solution in my head for uh, PSG winning the Champions League and for this move to be perfect in my eyes ठीक है would be Zidane coming into PSG. If Zidane doesn't come into PSG, I don't think so. I will not look at this whole contract renewal thing as the right thing to do. If Zidane comes, great. I think I would be happy to be proven wrong. Okay. But if Zidane doesn't come into this setup right now, I don't think so. This is the right move. As simple as that.
See, if Zidane comes into it and he just has a sit down with Mbappe, and Mbappe tells him, "Listen, boss, I have the control. You tell me what to do."
Hmm.
You have your team built right there.
But Sadiq bhai, my point here is again जब तिबास वाली बात पे जो इरिटेट हुए थे ना एंड आई ब्रिंग अनदर प्लेयर इनटू द पिक्चर ये सब फाइलिंग का रिपोर्ट ये सब जो चीजें हैं ये सब अभी क्यों हो रही है ठीक है ये सब जब नेमार लेके गए थे वो लोग तब क्यों नहीं हुई ठीक है क्योंकि यू ब्रोक वन ऑफ द मोस्ट डेविस्टेटिंग पार्टनरशिप्स इन यूरोपियन फुटबॉल विद दैट ट्रांसफर
That is where, when I talk to Madrid fans about Madrid being helped by the authorities, is where they get pissed off. And the reason they get pissed off is because they can't face the truth. आपको कौन सी बात बुरी लगेगी गुरुजी जब आपको कोई कड़वा सच बोलेगा ना सामने
हाँ
वो आपको बुरा लगेगा जब मुझे कोई बोलता है ना कि बार्सिलोना ने पिछले 4 साल में गंद मचाई है 150 मिलियन की साइनिंग की है मुझे बुरा लगता है क्योंकि मुझे पता है हमारे क्लब ने अपने पैर पे खुद कुल्हाड़ी मारी है वो करके by making those 150 million plus signings in Griezmann, Dembele and Coutinho. तो मुझे वो बात बुरी लगती है कि हाँ ठीक है हमने वो अकॉम्प्लिश नहीं किया मतलब हमने उधर गड़बड़ की हमने उधर गलती की तो जिधर आप लोग की गलती है वहां आप लोग को या गलती है जहां पे आप लोग को अनफेयर एडवांटेज मिल रहा है यू हैव टू रियलाइज दैट फैक्ट एंड दैट्स ऑलवेज बीन द केस यू कैन people will say ऐसा नहीं है वैसे नहीं है sit down and read the history don't go and watch YouTube videos about it sit down and read books and read stuff that has been there in the history books about Real Madrid and Barcelona and why this rivalry is that big and why this rivalry is cultural not just simply a footballing rivalry.
नहीं सिंपली पुट यार सिंपली पुट अगर टेबास के पास जैसा आपने बोला ऐसा if he was feeling in that zone ठीक है तो easily he could have done something about the Messi situation and this Mbappe situation is almost like a replica of the Neymar situation. हाँ
there are always loopholes in the salary cap आप ये कर
always
सकते
a loophole. I think वही loophole को exercise करके
UEFA ने क्या किया
have done this.
3 साल के लिए आपका FFP सस्पेंड है ना even if they file a report UEFA will say this is another season of our FFP being suspended इसके बाद 3 साल में हम एफएफपी कैलकुलेट करेंगे और आपको 2026 में बताएंगे 2025 में एफएफपी के रूल्स ही चेंज हो रहे हैं। ठीक है, सिंपल आंसर है, लीगली यू कांट डू जैक शिट अबाउट इट। नाउ फॉर टेबास सिंपल होता, वो कहता भाई हम वी हैव बीन स्ट्रिकन बाय द पेंडेमिक फॉर द लास्ट 2 सीजंस, वी आर गोइंग टू सस्पेंड द सैलरी कैप कैलकुलेशन फॉर 2 years। ठीक है ना, we are going to suspend the salary cap calculations for 2 years, so all teams can come back to a financial healthy state in the next 1.5 2 years when we have fans coming in and we have ticket receipts, then we will start calculating the salary cap after that। कर सकता था, नहीं कर सकता था ला लीगा? ये
कर सकता था, आराम से कर सकता था
भाई। इट वाज अ पेंडेमिक ना, इट वाज एन एक्ट ऑफ गॉड। एक्ट ऑफ गॉड में योर रेगुलर रूल्स कैन बी सस्पेंडेड,
कैन बी सस्पेंडेड इजीली, यस
लीगली एंड इजीली। नहीं किया ना उसने, अब रोना छोड़ दे, अब रोना छोड़ दे,
अब रोना छोड़ दो ना। मतलब अब क्या हो गया, मतलब नाउ इट्स वेरी क्लियर दैट भाई टेबास थोड़े से, मतलब देयर आर वरिंग साइंस एज अ न्यूट्रल आल्सो राइट नाउ। आई एम नॉट, भाई अभी सब बोलेगा तू तो बारसा का वॉचलॉन्ग कर, तू बारसा फैन है इनसाइड, बट भाई अगर मैं न्यूट्रल भी बन जाऊं, इट्स वेरी क्लियर व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी विद टेबास विद ला लीगा गोइंग एंड रिपोर्टिंग दिस होल एक्ट। यार इतना क्यों जा रहे हो, मतलब इतना क्यों जा रहे हो? नेमार के साथ सेम चीज हुआ था,
आपके
सेम चीज हुआ था नेमार के साथ।
एक दूसरे लीग के क्लब के बीच में डील हुआ है, आपकी लीग और दूसरी लीग के बीच में नहीं हुआ है
भाई। जैसे नेमार का ना, दैट नेमार का जो ट्रांसफर मेंट दैट द होल फुटबॉलिंग वर्ल्ड चेंज्ड। ठीक है, मतलब ट्रिकल डाउन इफेक्ट हुआ उसका। ठीक है, इतने सारे ट्रांसफर्स हो गए जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट नेमार ट्रांसफर, just because of that Neymar transfer.
Liverpool is a superpower right now because of that transfer.
Because of that transfer. अभी आप जब देख रहे हो, and as we are talking about it, Lyon have lifted the UEFA Women's Champions League trophy. Congratulations to Lyon.
भाई मैं नहीं देख सकता उसको ट्रॉफी।
sorry, but yeah, congratulations to Lyon. That is absolutely smashing stuff.
Congratulations यार, first half they were imperious भाई, first half they were imperious.
Absolutely smashing stuff. But coming back to what I was talking about was कि अभी what this transfer would do would just put the, मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, ball on the court of players, ठीक है, who are winding down their contracts, ठीक है, at different clubs, and that's about it. The club will not have a say in their future at that particular club, because those players would just hike themselves out of the club's reach, out of their parent club's reach in terms of contract renewals. Exactly. Or they will probably put an exorbitant amount of money on themselves. Okay? And the club, in order to be so desperate as to keep them, will have to pay that, which will lead to a wage disparity within the club. Okay? Which will disturb the wage structure within the club. Okay? Which will disturb the wage structure within the club, and we all know when the wage structure is disturbed, Barcelona is a prime example of that. Okay, how the club becomes, Barcelona is a prime example of that. ठीक है,
मुझे पता है
हाँ बोलिए
फ्री एजेंसी से क्या इशू है, क्योंकि फुटबॉल का बाकी स्ट्रक्चर उतना स्मूथ नहीं है कि आपके यंग प्लेयर्स कैसे आते हैं। योर यंग टैलेंट कमिंग अप इज अ वेरी रैंडम थिंग, कि 3 प्लेयर लियोन से ग्रो कर रहे हैं, 3 प्लेयर मोनाको से ग्रो कर रहे हैं, 5 प्लेयर किसी और छोटे क्लब से आ रहे हैं। उसमें फिर क्या होगा आपके साथ इशू, कि जब वो छोटे क्लब का स्टार, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल अ प्लेयर लाइक अ जेट स्पेंस, ठीक है, जेट स्पेंस एट नॉटिंघम है ना, आई थिंक ही इज एट नॉटिंघम। अ जेट स्पेंस, इमेजिन ही प्लेज विद नॉटिंघम, एंड नॉटिंघम इज थिंकिंग कि ठीक है इसका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अप होने वाला है, हम इसको बेच देते हैं और हम प्रॉफिट बना लेते हैं, ताकि हम अगले कुछ सीजन्स के लिए क्या कहते हैं वो हो जाए, फाइनेंशियली स्टेबल हो जाए। नाउ इमेजिन अ जेड स्पेंस हु नोज कि भाई फुल बैक्स की एक कमी है इस वक्त वर्ल्ड फुटबॉल में, मेरा इतना नाम हो रहा है, नॉटिंघम फॉरेस्ट को मैं प्रोबेबली क्वालिफाई करवा जाऊंगा फॉर द प्रीमियर लीग। नेक्स्ट सीजन में प्रीमियर लीग फुटबॉल खेल रहा हूँ, why the hell do I have to agree to a move to a bigger club, rather continue and run out my contract at a club like Nottingham Forest,
Hmm.
then go as a free agent transfer to any of the big Premier League clubs who will give me a massive signing bonus instead of the
Hmm.
transfer fee they would be willing to pay my parent club.
Hmm.
So
सादिक भाई,
इसमें
before you continue, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. मैं वो मानसी ब्लॉन्क का एक कमेंट बस लेना चाहूंगा. Neymar Neymar transfer was an activation of a release clause. I don't think it is unfair from La Liga's point of view. How? I don't get it. How? I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, right now there's a the player that we're talking about was about to run down a contract, and the parent club decided to renew his contract at an exorbitant amount. Okay, definitely the parent club that is Barcelona. Okay, definitely the parent club that is Barcelona would have thought about renewing Neymar ka contract at a certain given point of time when that was happening. Sadiq Bhai can enlighten this, but I think I'm pretty much right here. Okay, they were thinking of doing this around 6 months before this release clause happened, before this
exactly.
transfer happened, 6 months before this happened. Okay, and they honestly thought at that point of time that okay, fine, uh, I think I think we shouldn't do this because we are. I think Barcelona का wage structure, correct me if I'm wrong, Sadiq bhai, at that particular point of time was not great when Neymar left. I think when Neymar left, that gave you a lot of space within the wage structure and a lot of space in your finances as well when
Hmm.
Neymar left, because that
Yes.
influx of money helped you to manage all of that a little bit more, a little bit better.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So I think Barcelona would have overseen that coming, but how that wouldn't have happened was by La Liga's interference and saying that, hey, Barca, this player is a poster boy for us, is a superstar for La Liga. He's giving us viewership, he's giving us shirt sales. There are so many people who idolize Neymar, who are probably, I know of a few people who are just cricket fans, but only watch football because of Neymar, not Messi, not Ronaldo, but Neymar. Okay. So if such a player is probably playing for you, there La Liga can definitely interfere that okay, fine, you want money, we'll probably reduce this in your in your club, these sanctions in your club, or we'll probably give you a small loan in terms of whatever. We'll give you a small loan in from a third party investment or anything in that zone. We'll probably give you that, and boom, just get that player, just retain that player. That didn't happen. They just allowed the whole saga to continue, and the release clause was activated.
But
That's how
if
it
that
happened in my eyes.
activation of the release clause of Neymar was not unfair,
Hmm.
then there is nothing unfair in PSG going up to what they can afford to keep their own player in Kylian Mbappe.
हाँ. Yeah, वही वन नेशन एक्स नेशन वही बोल रहा हूँ. Mbappe still and Neymar are pretty similar to be honest. वही तो try कर रहा हूँ मैं बोलने को.
But
Exactly.
the issue here is when Tebas and the La Liga comes and complains, आपको तो सेम चीज हो रही है ना. आपका स्टार प्लेयर जा रहा था और यहाँ आपका स्टार प्लेयर नहीं आ रहा.
Simple. Exactly. That's the only difference.
सिंपल.
That's the
तो
only difference.
आपकी लीग में एक बड़े स्टार प्लेयर की कमी हो रही है. इधर वेज
हाँ.
आप कान ऐसे पकड़ो या आप कान ऐसे घुमा के पकड़ो, वो वाली
Hmm.
बात है और कुछ नहीं है. एक तरफ दैट प्लेयर इज बीइंग पुल्ड आउट फॉर एन एग्जॉर्बिटेंट मनी एंड
Hmm.
दूसरी तरफ अ प्लेयर इज नॉट अलाउड टू कम इनटू योर लीग फॉर एन एग्जॉर्बिटेंट मनी.
Hmm.
ठीक है ना.
Hmm.
बस इतना ही है.
I think this will accelerate. Satik भाई बोल रहे हैं, I think this will accelerate the rise of the ESL. Of course, PSG won't be included in the league. मैं आपको एक चीज बोलूँ, this is not going to accelerate the rise of the ESL. It's going to make football an ESL. ठीक है. It
एग्जैक्टली.
it's going to make European football a ESL. You don't exactly have to make a
बिकॉज
ESL. आपको एक
इमेजिन
separate
दिस.
ESL बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Simply put.
पता है, I was sitting and watching a Toon review, जो Newcastle fans TV है ना, Toon review
हाँ हाँ
करके.
हाँ 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 हाँ.
वो लोग ने बोला ठीक है, you guys don't want to include us in the ESL, no problem. In 4 years time, we and PSG will buy all your ESL players, then we'll buy the ESL itself.
हाँ.
And that's exactly what they can do.
What they can do
Why will the
easily.
ESL be lucrative? Because of the players that you will have ना.
Hmm.
लोग ये नहीं समझ रहे. लोग क्लब्स को वो कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, but what is the fuel that a football club runs on? It's a football player,
Correct.
the stars who are performing on the pitch.
करेक्ट।
एनबीए का जो कलेक्टिव बार्गेनिंग एग्रीमेंट था, दो दफा स्ट्राइक्स पे जा चुकी है एनबीए in the last 20 years, and each time the sticking point is कि how much of the revenue does get distributed to the players. The total revenue generated by league है, league was saying 49% to the players, 51% to the owners. They said no, it has to be 52 to 53%.
जोई ट्रिबियानी, हम एग्जैक्टली रो नहीं रहे हैं, वी आर जस्ट वंडरिंग अबाउट दिस होल सिनेरियो, ठीक है, सिंपली पुट। और हमने, अगर आप थोड़ा सा पहले जाओगे ना वीडियो के, तो वी हैव सिंपथाइज्ड विथ रियल मैड्रिड एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, तो थोड़ा
नहीं,
सा
और
मतलब
ये
आराम।
जितने एक मिनट गुरुजी, ये जितने बच्चे यहाँ पे आके एफएफपी का रोना रो रहे हैं ना,
हाँ
आपका रियल मैड्रिड,
हाँ बोलो।
बार्सिलोना, आपका मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड, आई एम अ बार्सा एंड यूनाइटेड फैन 26 years, probably twice as long as some of the people have been alive who are watching us right now. आपका एसी मिलान, आपका इंटर मिलान, आपका यूवेंटस, इन सब ने क्या किया, अपने अपने क्लब खड़े कर लिए 2006-7 तक, अपने क्लब्स को एक वो लेगेसी लेवल तक ले गए, एक फाइनेंशियल पीक तक। चेल्सी लकीली घुस गया, जैसे ही चेल्सी घुसा ना अपने पैसे लेके, और जब सिटी आया अपने पैसे लेके, इन क्लब्स ने अपनी एक माफियाइज्म, अपना एक माफियोसो यूएफा में बना के एक चीज जिसको एफएफपी कहते हैं उसको लाके बिठा दिया। क्यों? बिकॉज ये 7-8-10 क्लब ही फुटबॉल में बड़े होने चाहिए, किसी और को पैसा लेके नहीं घुसने दो, तो वो फेयर है, वो सही है। अब न्यूकासल के पास पैसा है, वो लेके घुस रही है अंदर, और स्ट्रॉन्ग इन दैट। आपने 60 साल में अपना क्लब पैसे पे बनाया ना, आपने 60 साल में अपना क्लब पैसे पे बनाया है ना।
Guys, Utkarsh SLP in the chat, and I think he's got a point, but anyways, continue.
My point is, when you sit and you don't read about sports and what goes on in the sporting world, then you don't make, जिसको क्या बोलते हैं, educated assumptions and opinions.
हाँ हाँ, सही बात बोलो।
You make
और ये
fan-based
और ये FFP वाला जो भी है ना, मतलब FFP has become such a broad term, right?
इतना बुरा है ना, pardon my language, FFP वाला 14 इतना बुरा है ना, it was brought in by the big clubs to keep the big clubs as big, क्योंकि उनका financial structure तब तक बाहर से पैसा लगा के 20-30 साल में उस लेवल पे पहुंच गया था कि now they were self sufficient and self generating of that
self generating money, correct, सही बात।
लेकिन कोई नया क्लब उसमें पैसा आ रहा है, नहीं, इसको रोको, इसको रोको, ये हमसे बड़ा नहीं बन जाए,
करेक्ट,
क्योंकि इनको पता है कि पैसे के बेसिस पर बड़ा बन सकते हो फुटबॉल में और स्पोर्ट्स में।
बट अभी ये सीन हो रहा है ना कि अभी जब एफएफपी फाइनेंशियल फेयर प्ले जो है, अर्का नॉक चौधरी एफएफपी फुल फॉर्म बोल रहे, फाइनेंशियल फेयर प्ले बोलते हैं उसको, ठीक है। एफएफपी को अगर ईज आउट कर दोगे अब फ्यूचर में, ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाई आई थिंक we'll automatically get a ESL.
बिल्कुल,
we'll automatically get a ESL.
इसीलिए जिस दिन ESL का पहला ड्राफ्ट आया था, अब उस वक्त तो मैं सोशल मीडिया वगैरह पे आके, मतलब I was not talking on you, but the people I was talking, I was like, this is correct.
करेक्ट है, हाँ,
सब यही तो कर रहे हैं। 50s, 60s, 70s Real Madrid built like that, 70s, 80s Bayern Munich built like that, 80s, 90s Milan, Barcelona built on their financial power. 90s to whole 90s United dominated because of their financial muscle.
Correct. 2000 तो आपको पता है, Chelsea dominated that Mourinho season.
City built on its muscle. उसके 5 साल के बाद आपने उठा के फेयर प्ले लगा दिया जब PSG आई तो।
हाँ, और अभी PSG, अभी आप जब फेयर प्ले कम कर दोगे, then Man City, PSG will again dominate because
Newcastle
आपका मैन सिटी पीएसजी क्यों बोल रहा, मैं वो बोलूंगा, ठीक है। मैं इंडियन सुपर लीग का एग्जांपल लेता हूँ, ठीक है, अभी करंटली, ठीक है। नाउ व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इन द आईएसएल इज, ठीक है, कोई एक प्लेयर who plays for a certain club, like let's say I'm saying a player plays for North East United FC, ठीक है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट यूनाइटेड एफसी के लिए वो एक सीजन बहुत अच्छा खेला, बहुत शानदार खेला, 2 सीजन, 1-2 सीजन शानदार खेला, बिकेम द क्लब कैप्टन, ठीक है. Mumbai City FC snaps them up immediately, and it has done for almost every club accordingly in the ISL. Every club, it has snapped up captains of at least 3 clubs in the ISL. ठीक है. Currently, it snapped up a player called David Williams
कब
from
की बात कर
ATK
रहे हैं?
Mohan.
अपूया की बात कर रहे थे ना? They
हाँ,
snapped up अपूया.
कौन सा?
North East United का I think they snapped up अपूया ना?
हाँ, Apuya, exactly, Apuya, correct. ठीक है, Apuya was their captain, North East United FC का. ठीक है. अभी डेविड विलियम्स को लेके आ रहे हैं from ATK Mohan Bagan, who had an absolutely smashing season 1 season back before Liston Colasso came into the picture. ठीक है. तो डेविड विलियम्स को भी लेके आ रहे हैं. ठीक है. They got Vineet Rai, who was the captain at his parent club before this. ठीक है. So Mumbai City FC have become like this team filled with proven talents, and they just get people who have performed within this within this particular league. So in effect, they become like a, at least from a steam sheet standpoint, they become like a superpower. Okay, because of their purchasing parity. Okay, because of their purchasing parity. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to Man City PSG. Okay, because of their purchasing parity, and also to convince people that you're coming and filling up the shoes of a good project that is in effect a very good project, to be very honest, because PSG is slowly going towards that zone. If Zidane comes into the picture again, if Man City is definitely going into that zone with Guardiola, at least for the next 2 years. I don't think so Guardiola will leave in the next 2 years for sure. Okay, so
I don't think he's leaving in the next 5.
So that's what I was trying to say. Why I didn't include Newcastle was this: Newcastle will take time, will spend money on a little bit more players who are a little bit better than average, not exactly world class players. In the next 2 years, they will spend money on those players, overspend money on those players. To be very honest, okay, they will overspend on those
Yeah,
players,
when
and
you
they
get
will
Chris Wood for 20 million plus, I mean
that is huge. Okay, that is huge. Okay.
that's
Bruno
ridiculous.
Bruno Guimaraes is not world class. Somebody tells me he's world class, I will kill him. But Bruno Guimaraes is not world class. He is a very good player. They will spend money on very good players. So
Yeah, when
that's
you
what I'm
talk,
trying to say.
Guruji, when you talk to a United fan about a Bruno Guimaraes, मेरे लिए तो world
I'm
class ही है,
sorry.
given the midfield
I'm
I have
sorry.
watched.
I'm sorry. I think दुखती नस पे हाथ
When
रख
my
लिया.
starting CDM is a Scott McTominay, Joe Linton, and Bruno Guimaraes look like absolute world beaters to me.
Huh. But exactly. But Divish ending the podcast on this, Divish saying, I this Gurga par jeetenge CL to Real Madrid. That is the
Correct.
perfect optimistic way to end this podcast on, and I think mostly yahi hoga. ठीक है, but Liverpool fans don't get sour, but I'm just predicting that ही हो जाए. ठीक है,
यार
but
पता है
yeah.
गुरुजी, I am a United fan, but if Liverpool pulls out the league title tomorrow,
Hmm.
somewhere down there, the football romantic in me wants to see them pull out a quad.
Hmm.
Because you know how good this team is
Hmm.
on the pitch.
Hmm.
If any team, so far this team deserves to pull that off. I mean, as a rival, I'm saying that. Then they should pull off the quadruple, because पता है क्या होगा? Them pulling a domestic treble, missing out onto the quadruple. You know, as a footballing purist and as a footballing romantic, you want to see something historic happen in front of your eyes.
Right. वो तो है. That's it. So hopefully we get to see a good match, not like the Liverpool versus Tottenham game, which was absolutely shitty.
So
That was an absolute shit Champions League final. I really
I
hope we
slept
don't
halfway
get
through,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I really hope we don't get that. But thanks for watching, guys. अगर 203 लोग हैं, 203 लोग, if you have not liked the stream, please do like the stream. Subscribe to Guru Dev's Guru Gyan, because इधर आपको सादिक भाई भी बहुत रेगुलरली मिलते रहेंगे, and आपके सपोर्ट से ये चैनल और भी अच्छा और भी एक्टिव बना रहेगा. तो थैंक यू सादिक भाई, as always यार मजा आया. ठीक है,
My
बात
inner
भी कर ली.
Mbappe has agreed to a deal with Aditya's Guru Gyan also.
Here we go.
अब मैं साइन किसके साथ करूंगा वो मुझे नहीं पता.
हाँ, exactly. Here we go. बट एनीवेज थैंक यू ऑल, प्लीज अपना अपना ख्याल रखना एंड मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. चीयर्स.